Hi guys, this is Jaden here with a backstory video, and yeah, like with spoof film reviews, I'm not really as active with these videos as I used to be, mainly due to me being more interested in doing certain other content for the channel. But yeah, the last time I did one of these backstory videos was almost a year ago in June of 2024 when I did that one Wheel of Fortune backstory video, which was also a tribute video of Pat Sajak's retirement. And yeah, since then we haven't gotten a backstory video from me in like 10 months. But I don't want to stop these backstory videos, despite the fact that I think that Wheel of Fortune one would be a pretty fitting end to these backstory videos, especially since it was a tribute of Pat's retirement. But still, I would like to continue these backstory videos. Now, I still don't know how often I'll keep doing these type of videos, but I don't want to end them, and I'll prove it with this backstory video, which will be my backstory with the Peanuts franchise. Yep, as some of you guys might know, I'm a huge fan of the Peanuts. I grew up with the Peanuts. I love Charlie Brown, and I love the Charlie Brown specials. But how exactly did I get into this cartoon franchise? Well, you're about to find out right now. Here's my backstory with the Peanuts. All right. Now, first of all, I apologize if I'm not bringing up my first exposure to peanuts in general in this video. But like, at least from what I can remember, like at least from memory, my first exposure with this franchise was like way back in, I'm pretty sure, the late 2000s. I don't remember what year, but I'm pretty sure this was way 2000, like late 2000s, way back when I was really little during the late 2000s, if not, I guess 2010, when like I was a really little kid and I was watching this one Charlie Brown film called A Boy Named Charlie Brown. And yeah, I do remember watching that movie, and I especially remember, like, I mostly remember watching the scene from that Charlie Brown film where Charlie Brown misspells the word beagle and he gets shitted on by all the kids for misspelling that word, like, despite it being an easy word. And yeah, I remember watching that movie and especially that scene, like, seeing like all these kids believe that Charlie Brown can spell beagle right, but then he misspells it and gets shitted on by all the other kids. Yeah, I remember that. And yeah, A Boy Named Charlie Brown was like a movie I would like get on DVD from the library years later in like either August or September of 2016. And yeah, A Boy Named Charlie Brown, I'm pretty sure, at least from what I can remember, was my first exposure with this franchise. And if it wasn't that movie, it would have to be ABC. Oh man, I miss the peanut specials on ABC. For those who don't know, even though I'm sure a lot of the people who will watch this video knows this, the peanut specials used to air on ABC every year up until 2020, when ABC sadly lost the rights to Charlie Brown. But when I was a kid, like, I remember every holiday season, ABC would air the peanut specials, and yeah, if A Boy Named Charlie Brown wasn't my first memory of Peanuts, then I'm pretty sure it would have to be from watching one of the Peanuts Christmas specials off of ABC. And I do remember like I do remember watching the Peanut specials off of ABC. Like, I remember watching that in the living room with my family members, as well as me like recording those Peanut specials on the DVR, like from some point during, like, since 2013 or so. And I remember even my grandmother would DVR record the Peanut specials off of ABC, for me to watch, like when I'd spend the night there and stuff. And at one time, she even recorded the Peanuts movie on the DVR as well, which is a movie I'll talk more about later. But yeah, I remember my grandma really liked Peanuts, and my grandma really liked Peanuts, despite her not being like the biggest person with cartoons and stuff, and her not wanting us to watch like a bunch of cartoons and stuff, like, or like spend that much time on electronics in general while we'd visit her. But yeah, my grandma really liked Peanuts, and my late great mom really liked Peanuts, as like, she loved watching the Charlie Brown specials off of ABC with us and all that stuff. And yeah, another person I remember who really liked Peanuts was my third grade teacher. My third grade teacher from way back, like during 2013 and 2014. I don't remember what her name was, but I remember her last name beginning with a P. And yeah, I remember my third grade teacher was also really into Peanuts, and I've always liked Peanuts, but I didn't start to like be really hooked, like fall in love with this franchise up until like I think it probably was, I don't know, maybe like during, it was at some point during 2013, but it was like I don't fully remember like what date this was, but this was probably like during the Halloween season, like during October of 2013. Like, my once again, my third grade teacher really liked Peanuts. Like, I remember she would have like a picture, like a drawing of Snoopy sleeping on his doghouse in the classroom. And I also remember when the Christmas season would come up, she would have the Charlie Brown tree in her room. And not only that, but she would also often let us watch Charlie Brown in the classroom. like when the Halloween season would come, she would let us watch Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and then when the next month during November we'd get to watch a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, and then December we'd be able to watch a Charlie Brown Christmas. And it wasn't even just the holiday special she'd let us watch. She would also let us watch this one Charlie Brown special called "Happiness is a Warm Blanket." Charlie Brown. I remember my first exposure with that special was like in the classroom watching it, and yeah, I really liked that special, and I would later rent it on DVD from the library and like watch it off of like my Xbox or whatever. And yeah, I remember my first exposure with that 2011 special was in the classroom. Was like in the classroom. And I also remember my classmates like laughing their asses off at the scene where Snoopy was making like his binocular eyes, like looking for Linus with his blanket or whatever. Yeah, I haven't seen that special in quite a while, but I've seen that special like a couple of times, and I remember really liking it. Maybe I should rewatch it at some point. But yeah, my third grade teacher really liked Peanuts, and I think she was probably the main thing that made me fall in love with Peanuts. If it wasn't that, oh no, it probably would have been like my mom or the Peanut specials being off of ABC. But yeah, I'm pretty sure 2013 was when I started to fall in love with Peanuts. And yeah, it was an obsession that I carried on with, and it was like up to the point where like I remember during Halloween of 2014, I would dress up as Charlie Brown, and during a school day where they would like have us wear Halloween costumes at school, I would put on my Charlie Brown costume. And yeah, also during that same school year, they would also let us watch a Charlie Brown, like the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown in the classroom while I'd be wearing my Charlie Brown costume. And yeah, I remember like at the scene where Charlie Brown was doing his dance because he thought he got invited to a party. I was doing the dance as well, and the kids laughed at it. Yeah, I remember that. And I also remember the scene where Linus was telling Charlie Brown, "When you stop believing that fellow with the red suit and the white beard who goes ho ho ho." Yeah, he said that line when there was one of my classmates wearing a Santa Claus costume, and that's what made it funnier. And yeah, and as the school years went by, we'd like keep being allowed to watch the Peanuts holiday specials at school, like a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, and Charlie Brown Christmas, and all that stuff. It carried on, but like that little tradition we do at school started to die out, like sometime during middle school or like early high school. I think it started to die out like sometime during when I was in late middle school or early high school, like ninth grade or so. If I remember correctly, the last time they let us watch a Peanut special in class was like during December of 2019. This was my freshman year at high school when they let us watch a Charlie Brown Christmas in class. But yeah, so yeah, school was like part of what like made me fall in love with Peanuts. It was might have been the main thing that made me fall in love with Peanuts because I had a third grade teacher who was really into Peanuts. And yeah, like I said, I dressed up as Charlie Brown during for Halloween of 2014, and then in 2015, I would dress up as Linus. And yeah, I did enjoy that costume, but I don't think I enjoyed dressing up as Linus as much as I did with Charlie Brown. Yeah, like oh my god, I remember that Charlie Brown shirt was more than just a Halloween costume for me. Like it was, I loved wearing that shirt so much to the point where it became something I wore on a normal basis. Like not just for a Halloween costume, but it became something I wore on a normal basis. Like it's my own shirt. Like that's like Charlie Brown's shirt was my shirt. Like like I was Charlie Brown or something. I love that shirt so much. And I also remember what I did for my like my Charlie Brown costume was like draw a W on my forehead, so I'd look more like Charlie Brown. Yeah, I remember loving that shirt so much. It's a shame I don't have it anymore, but I'm sure if I wanted to wear a Charlie Brown shirt again, which I don't really want to now that I'm like 20 years old, but I'm sure if I wanted to wear a Charlie Brown shirt again, I could get myself another one of those easily, or at least make myself another one of those. Like I'm sure I could just take a generic yellow shirt and like draw squiggly lines on it. After all, that's like zigzag lines on it. After all, that's how we were able to make that costume happen for me in the first place. But yeah, loved wearing that Charlie Brown shirt so much. Soon enough, I'd wear it on a normal basis. Like I'd also wear it during Thanksgiving Day and like during Christmas Day and all that stuff. God, I love that shirt. And then later I dressed up as Linus, but unlike my Charlie Brown costume, that Linus shirt didn't become something I would wear on a normal basis. Even though I do remember when I was in like the fifth grade. I did have like a long sleeve shirt that looked kind of like Linus's shirt, but it wasn't a part of a Linus costume or anything. You know what I mean? But yeah, that Charlie Brown shirt. Man, I love wearing that Charlie Brown shirt because Charlie Brown used to be my favorite character of the Peanuts franchise, but nowadays it's definitely Snoopy. Like, oh my gosh, I think like 2 or 3 months, like 3 months ago, I started to love that dog more than I did before. Yeah, Snoopy nowadays is definitely my favorite Peanuts character. Like I said before, I love that dog so much, and like for me, like almost every time that dog comes on screen, he steals a spotlight. I love Snoopy. He's so funny. He's so cute. He's so enjoyable to watch. And yeah, nowadays he's definitely my favorite cartoon dog. For years, it used to be Charlie Brown as my favorite Peanuts character, but no, I love Snoopy and I like him like probably a lot more than anyone else in the show, even Charlie Brown himself. But I still love the other characters of Peanuts. Like I still love Charlie Brown. I still love Linus. I still love Woodstock. I still love Lucy. I still love Sally and Peppermint Patty, like all those are great characters too. But Snoopy, yeah, Snoopy tops all of them in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of other people would agree with that. Like I'm pretty sure Snoopy was like intentionally written to be your favorite character because he's all comedic relief and stuff. But yeah, what else can I explain with my backstory with Peanuts? I used to watch the Peanut specials off of ABC like every year. One Peanut special I remember watching off of ABC, although I haven't seen this one in years, but it was like the Easter Beagle Charlie Brown. Like it's the Easter Beagle Charlie Brown. Yeah, I do remember watching that special off of ABC, but I haven't seen that whole special in quite a while. I haven't seen it in like probably over 10 years. So, yeah, since Easter's coming up, I think I would like to re-watch that special at some point, get a refreshment on it, and probably do a thoughts video on it. We'll see. But I do remember liking that Easter special. And yeah, what else can I explain with my backstory with Peanuts? I remember in November of 2015 when the Peanuts movie came out, and this was also a movie I watched the little trailer they get out for it off my Wii U gamepad like back during early February of 2015. But yeah, when the film came out, shortly after the film came out, this was like I think Sunday November. What was it like Sunday November 5th? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sunday November 5th, 2015. Maybe a bit later than that. My memory's kind of fallen off here, but yeah, it was sometime during early November of 2015, shortly after the film came out. And like after me and my grandma went to church, we went out to theaters to see the Peanuts movie. And yeah, I love that movie so much. I love the Peanuts movie. And it eventually became a film that I'd watch more often. That I'd watch more. I've seen that film a few times since watching it in the theater. Like there was one time where I watched it, and there was also one time where I watched that film while being at grandma's. And the last time I watched that whole film from start to finish was during like over 2 months ago when I did a little movie night with that movie. And it was like basically like a two-parter movie night that I did. It was like a two-parter movie night where I watched the regular show movie with my older brother Jacob and my little sister Josie while we were eating burgers for dinner and stuff. And then I took after we watched that movie, I took a break from doing a movie night, and like I was watching the Android Saga. I had the Android Saga on for my Dragon Ball Z box set. But yeah, I could have watched more Dragon Ball Z episodes that night, but no. Instead, I decided to do a movie night with the Peanuts movie and postpone watching those Dragon Ball Z episodes. And knowing my YouTube friend, The Return of the Fossa, I'm sure he'd be pretty happy I made that decision. Yeah, pass up DBZ to watch the Peanuts film for like the fourth time. And yeah, I love that Peanuts movie. It's a great film, and it's easily my favorite Blue Sky animated film. And it used to be my favorite Peanuts film, but like it used to be my favorite Peanuts film up until like over 2 months ago when I watched the entirety of Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown off of my phone. And yeah, I love that film. I know there's a lot of people who don't like that movie as much as I do because of its slow pacing and shit. But for me, that's my favorite Peanuts film that I've seen. I love Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown. Like I said before, it's now one of my favorite animated films of all time. It's a nice, fun adventure film with Charlie Brown and the gang and all that stuff. And yeah, it's a great movie. I love that film. I love the film. I might want to get it on DVD for my birthday this year. And I'm experienced with the other Charlie Brown films too. Like I said, I've seen A Boy Named Charlie Brown. I do remember watching that film when, like, at least a bit of that film when I was a really little kid, and I eventually got it on DVD to watch off of my Xbox. And I haven't seen that movie in years, though. I do remember some of what happens in it, but that's a film I might need to revisit at some point. And I've also seen a good chunk of Snoopy Come Home off of YouTube this year as well. And yeah, that's a good film. It's not my favorite Peanuts film, even though yeah, it's Snoopy's movie. His name's literally in the fucking title of the film. Maybe this should be my favorite movie, but like it's not. Now, granted, I honestly never watched it from start to finish, but I've seen I don't know maybe like at least a bit more, maybe like around half of it off of a YouTube playlist. And yeah, it's a good movie. It's pretty funny and all that stuff, especially with the like how they use the ongoing "no dogs allowed" joke. But it's also pretty sad to me. Like it's also pretty sad to me. Like I wouldn't say it's necessarily sad in a bad way, but still, I would also rather like not watch my rather not have my favorite Peanuts film be one that makes me sad. You know what I mean? It's still a great movie, and I should probably finish it at some point, especially since I'm such a big Snoopy fan. But yeah, I don't think I would take it over Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown, or that Peanuts film that my grandma took me out to see. And what's another Charlie Brown film they made? There's also Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown. Yeah, I've also seen some of that movie off of YouTube as well. And yeah, that's a good film though. It also feels pretty slow. I also didn't watch that movie the whole way through from start to finish, but it also feels like a pretty slow movie to me. Like I feel like Charlie Brown and his friends getting into a big race with like all these kids would probably work better as like a normal TV episode for one of the shows rather than a movie. All right, so that pretty much covers it for the movies. What else can I talk about with this backstory? This is another big memory I have with Peanuts. I remember way back in December of 2016. This was December 10th, 2016 on a Saturday. Yes, I remember precisely the date of when this happened. And yeah, okay, this was when this was over a week after I saw Shrek the musical too. My grandmother took me out to see a play for a Charlie Brown Christmas, and that was like one of the only times where I went out to see a play, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love seeing them recreate a Charlie Brown Christmas, and yeah, that was a really fun time. Grandma taking me out to see a play of a Charlie Brown Christmas. That was pretty fun to see. Although I was a little disappointed to see them like not cover like at least one of the other Charlie Brown Christmas specials apart from the original Charlie Brown Christmas. Like I was expecting them to cover like it's Christmas time again, Charlie Brown, or like Charlie Brown's Christmas Tales or something. But no, they just covered one Charlie Brown Christmas special, which kind of disappointed me. But still, it didn't affect the experience too much for me. It was still a great time going out to see that Peanuts play. And I also remember earlier that day, I was also watching my Peanuts recordings, like a couple of grandma's, a bit from the Peanuts recordings my grandma had on her DVR before we went out to see a Charlie Brown Christmas play, to get me ready for that. And I also remember later that night when I got back home, like sometime after I got back home from that play, I like watched more Peanuts quietly on the living room TV because yeah, I was in quite the Peanuts mood that day. And yeah, December of 2016 was a great example of me being quite in the mood for Peanuts. As you know, I was like, I had Peanuts Mii's on my Wii U, and I was like using them to set up Super Smash Bros. Fights. Like, heck, I remember this one video I recorded. This was never a video I uploaded onto YouTube or anything, but this was one of those videos I recorded off of my phone and never bothered to upload it, where I was recording a Super Smash Bros. Fight from my Wii U gamepad. I think it was a computer fight. If not this was a one player fight where I was up against three computers, and I was recording a Peanuts fight being done with Mii's while I was playing Charlie Brown music from the TV near the Wii U gamepad. I remember that video. Too bad it's deleted and I can never rewatch it again. But I think it's like one of those really old videos that I recorded and never uploaded it, that I would still enjoy and not cringe at. But let's talk more about the DVDs. Okay, so like I said before, there are some Peanuts DVDs I rented from the library. Well, it wasn't exactly me who got those Peanuts DVDs. It was like they were like DVDs that like my mother would get for me while we would visit the library. But yeah, I got a boy named Charlie Brown from the library one time in 2016, and then earlier in 2015, I also remember I got Happiness is a Warm Blanket Charlie Brown from the library too, and I would also get a Charlie Brown Christmas on DVD from that same library, which I also still have here, by the way. Never returned it. And same thing with that one Charlie Brown DVD called, I think it was, yeah, Charlie Brown Valentine, where it also came with this one Charlie Brown special called it's like Someday You'll Find Her Charlie Brown or something like that. which by the way, that's an episode I rewatched like a month or two ago, and yeah, it's a good episode, but I don't think it's anything special. It's still good though, but I don't think it's as good as a Charlie Brown Valentine, which is like I said in another Peanuts video. That was a Charlie Brown special I remember watching a lot when I was younger. Yeah, I remember one time recording that episode. Like I remember the first time I watched a Charlie Brown Valentine, I recorded it off of like a small camcorder that I got for my ninth birthday in 2013, and it was like a little video I recorded into four parts, and then shortly after recording that episode off of ABC, I watched that episode off my camcorder over and over again for like maybe a couple of days, and then I just deleted those videos off the camcorder to save space on it and stuff. But yeah, I remember that. And there were other Peanut specials I recorded. Like I remember, like I recorded like not just off the DVR, but also off of like my camcorder and my phone and stuff. Like I do remember one time recording uh, like it's a great pumpkin Charlie Brown off of ABC. Even though my grandma was DVR recording it at the same time, but I like it's not like I lived with my grandma at the time, so like I couldn't just watch it whenever I want. And plus, my grandma is pretty strict about like how much she wants us on her electronics and stuff. So yeah, like that way, like recording it off of my father's phone, off of ABC into four videos. Like, it's easier to make sure that I would like be able to watch that special anytime I want, even though I was using my father's phone and I'd be watching that episode, that special in worse quality, but whatever, I still get to watch that Charlie Brown special. And yeah, I remember being pretty crazy about wanting those Charlie Brown specials recorded. All right. Oh yeah, and another thing I forgot to talk about with my Peanuts DVDs. Okay, yeah, I got sidetracked, but I also remember, like I said, during my 18th birthday of 2022, my older brother Jacob got me this one like Peanuts holiday collection DVD thing that had like the Peanuts holiday specials from the from Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all that, and it even included some like the normal episodes of Charlie Brown on there as well. Like for example, you're in love, Charlie Brown, or whatever that old episode's called, along with this one Peanuts episode. I think it's called He's a Bully, Charlie Brown. Yes, I watched that. I watched that episode off of that DVD set like 3 months, maybe 3 months ago. And again, it's one of those Peanuts episodes that I think is good, but nothing that special. And another Peanuts installment I'm not too crazy about is like I Want a Dog for Christmas, Charlie Brown. Yeah, that special was always like kind of meh to me. I mean it's not bad, but for Charlie Brown standard, it's pretty bad. And the last time I watched it was during the Christmas season of 2024, and I wouldn't mind if that was the last time I ever watched that special ever. But yeah, so used to watch the Peanut specials off of ABC, and my parents grew up with Peanuts since it's like a cartoon from when they were really young, and I'm pretty sure my grandparents did as well, especially my grandma, since she always seemed more into Peanuts than my grandfather. What else is there to talk about with my history with Peanuts? Well, I remember seeing Peanuts references like off of YouTube and stuff. Like I remember watching the heck out of Peanuts references off of my Wii U gamepad from Robot Chicken, even though I would eventually think that show's overrated, but I don't think that anymore. But that's beside the point. However, I still felt the need to bring that up. But yeah, I remember watching Peanuts, like the Charlie Brown Peanuts sketches from Robot Chicken off of my Wii U gamepad, and I also remember watching that like iCarly, that one skit they did on Mad where they did that one crossover between iCarly and Charlie Brown, and it was called iCharlie. I thought that was a really good skit they did, and I've also revisited that sketch more off of YouTube earlier this year. And by far, at least of 2025, that is by far my most revisited Mad sketch of this year. Yeah, that's a great sketch they did, and I would recommend it for people to watch that sketch if you're a big fan of Charlie Brown like I am, and I guess if you're a fan of iCarly too, but more for people who are Charlie Brown fans. Okay. And another Peanuts related thing that I remember discovering a lot when like during this year of 2025 is my friend the Return of the Foss's old video of him reviewing the Charlie Brown show after he had just watched the Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas specials off of YouTube lately at the time. And yeah, it's a really good video in my opinion. I love revisiting that video, obviously since I'm a big fan of Charlie Brown. And fortunately, Fossa also loves Charlie Brown too. So if you guys want to watch that video, I'll leave a link to it in the description below if you're curious. And yeah, you can check that video out. And I'm also like I've also seen like a bit of Charlie Brown spoofs off of YouTube. Oh, I don't really think I've seen that many like Charlie Brown spoofs off of YouTube. like the ones with spoof casts and stuff. I do remember one time Kylie, the little Spider-Man girl, or like Kylie, the little Courage girl, or whatever that user's called now, did do a cast video for the Peanuts movie. Or I don't remember much from this cast video, but I remember being a good one that had, if I remember correctly, Goten from Dragon Ball being Charlie Brown. And I also remember the Return of the Fossa, again, my YouTube friend, also did his own spoof cast video for a Charlie Brown Christmas. Like, it was called A Woody Christmas, where he had Sheriff Woody from Toy Story be Charlie Brown. I remember that being a cool cast video. And I also, and like a year later, I'd also do my own Charlie Brown Christmas cast video too, where I'd have Mac from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends be Charlie Brown. And then the next year after that, in 2024, I would make a poster for said Charlie Brown Christmas project, even though I don't plan on doing like any full special projects for a Charlie Brown Christmas because I'm lazy and because of like copyright and stuff. But still, I do. Yeah, I did do a bit of a Mac Christmas there. And I've also used Charlie Brown for like my other spoof related videos, like for example, how I had Snoopy be Stallion Donkey for that one Knuckles Shrek cast video I made for Vanilla Rabbit Lover, and how I also had him be the far far away puppy from Shrek 2 and all that, and how I also had like Sally from like Charlie's little sister Sally be Hannah from the first Toy Story movie, and other examples like how I've had Charlie Brown be Pinocchio, like be human Pinocchio, if I remember correctly, from Shrek 2. And yes, I'm sure I'd want to see what more cool ideas I'd be able to do with Peanuts characters in my spoof cast and stuff. All right, what else can I talk about? I've already explained a lot of stuff with this backstory. Yeah, I think I pretty much covered my Peanuts backstory pretty well in this video. So there you guys have it. This is my backstory with Peanuts. Like I think I first got into it way back in like late 2000s, if not early 2010s, either off of A Boy Named Charlie Brown or like off of like ABC airing the specials and stuff. And to this day, I'm a huge Peanuts fan, and I've loved the Peanuts growing up. Even though there were times where I wasn't as into Peanuts as I was before, I'm still a huge Peanuts fan. It's one of my favorite cartoons. Love the Peanuts. And I especially love Snoopy, as he is my favorite character. Oh, no, not to mention, just like a couple months ago, like 2 or 3 months ago, I'd finally discovered that Snoopy had his own cartoon called The Snoopy Show. And yeah, that's a show I've seen like quite a few episodes from this year. And yeah, in my opinion, it's a really good show, of course, since, it's a spinoff to my favorite Peanuts character, Snoopy. And yeah, it's a great show, and I would recommend you guys to check it out if you hadn't seen it. Like if you're in it, and also if you're like a big Charlie Brown fan like I am, and especially if you're a big Snoopy fan. I also remember doing a thoughts video in that show too. And another Peanuts show I remember watching is like that one Peanuts cartoon that aired on Cartoon Network during 2016. And yeah, I also really like that show as well. Although like I wouldn't say I'm super biased towards that Peanuts show that came out on Cartoon Network in 2016. Though it was like initially, it was initially released in 2014 actually, but it was brought over here to the US and it premiered on Cartoon Network and Boomerang in like around summer of 2016. And yeah, I really like that show as well. And yeah, even though I'm not crazy biased towards it. Like I respect the opinion of it not being the best Peanuts cartoon and all that stuff, but still, I enjoy it for what it is. Yeah, the show is slow paced and it feels like more generic than the original Peanuts cartoon. But still, I really like it for what it is, and I think it makes like a nice comfort show to watch at night and all that stuff. I did revisit it a bit this year, and yeah, I think it holds up fine. Though I also think that I would rather watch the Snoopy show over it, as well as of course, the original Charlie Brown. But yeah, there you guys have it. This is my backstory with Peanuts. How I got into it years ago, like either off of A Boy Named Charlie Brown or off of ABC. How I had a third grade teacher who was really into Peanuts, and how I've seen a bunch of Peanut specials. And there's like also certain Peanuts installments that I haven't seen in quite a long time. Like not just like Easter Beagle Charlie Brown. Sorry, tongue twister there. But so one example I didn't bring up is that one Peanuts episode that they used to air on ABC along with Happy New Year Charlie Brown, where they had Peppermint Patty skating and stuff with Snoopy. That's an episode I would want to rewatch at some point. But the main like Peanut special I want to rewatch like sometime after this video comes out is Easter Beagle Charlie Brown. Maybe I'll do a thoughts video on that pretty soon. But yeah, there you guys have it. This is my backstory with Peanuts. And I think, and I'm sorry if I forgot any important details in this video, but I think I covered it pretty well. And this video, this backstory video, ended up being longer than I expected it to be. Even though, yeah, I meant for it to cover a lot, since it's like, this backstory does have a lot of detail into it. But yeah, I'm a huge Peanuts fan. Got into it since I was a little kid, and I love the show so much, and I still love it to this day as a 20-year-old man. And I especially love my boy Snoopy. That dog's a legend. But yeah, I don't really know much else I could say, you guys. So yeah, that's all I got into Peanuts. I'm repeating a lot of the same stuff here. Bye. Thanks for watching the video. And also have a happy Easter pretty soon. And also, if you guys want to, you can let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this video or how you got into Peanuts and whatnot. And yeah, bye. Thanks for watching.